Just a few questions here. Retail sales are down. Consumer sentiment is down. Consumer expectations are fluctuating. And the one thing on everybody's mind is inflation is killing us in this state. And one of the things that I liked, the one thing I liked about mask mandates was I could walk into a supermarket and not be recognized. Now I have people coming up to me all the time showing me a package of chopped meat, how much it's gone up over the past week. You know how it is. You hear people all the time how much it costs to fill their Yukon, and you know this is what's on everybody's mind. So with that, it's going to have a psychological impact and a real financial impact on their spending habits. So discretionary spending is certainly going to drop to cover the costs of everything else, all the necessities going up. So do you expect to have to revise revenue estimates downward also, given these factors?
Just one correction, you said retail sales are down, they're up currently. So, but I guess you're talking about future and potential drag on purchases if
I have data here that's, I'm sorry, data that says consumer purchases have been in decline since December. So.
The retail sales data that we have, I mean, last year was a tremendous year in retail sales. Depending on whether you use IHS Markit or Moody's, retail sales were up 18 to 20% last year. The projections are for retail sales to be up between about 5 and 8% this year, according to IHS Markit and Moody's. And considering that the sales tax is up 17% in March, retail sales had to be up. There's no way in New Jersey that you could have 17% growth in the sales tax if retail sales had declined.
Okay, can I just ask, is that actual purchases or is it just because of the inflation that the numbers are inflated?
Yeah, so since inflation, depending on which inflation measures you use, are running between like 5 and 8%, a piece of that 17% growth is inflation. But even if I take the higher level of 8% off of the 17% growth, I still get about 9% real growth. So in March, retail sales, even adjusting for inflation, were probably up something on the order of 9%. At least in New Jersey, to make the math work. Otherwise, you wouldn't get such a robust, I mean, March is the strongest growth rate for sales tax we've had all fiscal year.
So at this point, you're not expecting to have to revise it downward?
Not yet, right. Okay.
But it just speaks to, and I get your question, do you expect us to have to, you know, alter our estimates? As Martin, we're always looking at revenue numbers. We put them out monthly every time, you know, so, but it also sort of supports the idea of taking a more cautious approach in looking forward into the next fiscal year, FY23, when doing those estimates.
Okay. If in the coming months revenue is determined to be under what's forecast, what tax hikes would you recommend to fill the gap?
Well, we're comfortable with our revenue estimates, which is why we've taken the approach we have. Also, that would, you know, to the extent revenues decline below what is expected, that's why you have a surplus. That's one of the reasons you build in a surplus to allow you to get through unforeseen downturns in the economy.
Okay, so do you have any contingency in rate hikes in case the numbers are so far below and you don't want to use surplus?
Well, we'll look at what our expenditures are at that point and whether we need to make any kind of adjustments. As I said, we have taken a cautious approach to our revenue estimates, and as I mentioned earlier also, Moody's and S&P, that is one of the reasons we've received upgrades, because we have been cautious and it's allowed for us to be more flexible when it comes to potential downturn in the economy. So
okay, so just so I'm clear, you have no contingency tax hikes in mind at this point?
We have no tax hikes in mind.
Okay. Last question. 29 tax hikes did not have estimates when Governor Murphy approved them, and many of them affected lower and middle-class New Jerseyans. Would you please provide the revenue derived from them through the chair? I could provide a list of some of them if you want.
That would be helpful if you
Okay.
could.
I won't read all 29, but I'll give a few that sort of cross-cut everything. The corporate combined reporting policy, do you have any idea of the revenue derived from that?
You mean that was a policy? So you're talking about CBT, effect
Yes.
on the corporate business tax? Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Okay,
when
let me
you
give you a few other ones, so I don't want to tie up the committee anymore. The so-called rain tax.
Okay. If it might help if you just give the list to the chair
Okay.
and we can go through it.
Okay, let me just try two more, and then we'll move on, okay? The fee for non-consensual towing. Boy, is that a polite way to put it, non-consensual towing.
I really would need to
Okay.
see what,
So you know what, we'll give
The
you
basis
this
for the-
list here, and it lays them out, the dates they were implemented and so on, so you'll have a clear idea what we're talking about, okay?